Hello, and welcome to another episode of Time Capsule Modern Genealogy, Legacy, and AI, the podcast where we explore how to preserve your family's history, protect your research, and use today's technology, including artificial intelligence, to ensure your legacy is never lost. I'm Barbara Beauregard, professional genealogist, DNA researcher, author, educator, and founder of AncestrySeeking.com. If you've ever wished you had asked your grandparents one more question, if you've ever looked through old photographs and wondered, who is this? Or if you've ever realized that someone took an entire lifetime of memories with them when they passed away, then today's episode is for you, because the greatest loss in genealogy isn't usually a missing census record, it's the stories we never thought to ask about. Today we're talking about how to interview relatives before it's too late. Whether you're just beginning your family history or you've been researching for decades, this episode will help you preserve the memories that no courthouse, archive, or DNA test can ever replace. So grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and let's begin. After more than 40 years helping families discover their history, there is one sentence I hear over and over again. I wish I had asked my grandmother, or Dad used to tell us stories, but none of us wrote them down. Sometimes people tell me I thought there would always be more time. The truth is, most of us don't realize how valuable someone's memories are until they're gone. Birth certificates tell us when someone was born. Marriage records tell us who they married. Death certificates tell us when they died. But none of those documents tell us what their childhood was like, who they were afraid of, what made them laugh, how they met their spouse, what Christmas was like, what family traditions meant to them, or what lessons they hoped future generations would remember. Those details disappear unless someone asks, and once they're gone forever. Genealogy often begins with names and dates, but eventually every researcher discovers something important. People aren't interested in lists, they're interested in stories. Think about your own family. Would you rather know that your grandfather was born in 1918? Or hear him describe what it was like leaving for World War II? Would you rather know your grandmother lived on Maple Street? Or hear her describe washing clothes by hand, riding a horse to school, or meeting the love of her life? Stories create connection, facts create structure, both matter. But stories are what future generations remember. One of the biggest misconceptions is that interviews require planning. People imagine cameras, professional microphones, pages of prepared questions, special software. The truth? Start today. Some of the best interviews happen at the kitchen table, or on a front porch, or while driving somewhere together, or during Sunday dinner, or over a cup of coffee. You don't need perfection, you simply need to begin. Even a 15-minute conversation can preserve memories that otherwise disappear forever. One of the biggest misconceptions is that interviews require planning. People imagine cameras, professional microphones, pages of prepared questions, special software. The truth? Start today. Some of the best interviews happen at the kitchen table, or on a front porch, or while driving somewhere together, or during Sunday dinner, or over a cup of coffee. You don't need perfection, you simply need to begin. Even a 15-minute conversation can preserve memories that otherwise disappear forever. One of the hardest things during an interview is resisting the urge to speak. Most people answer a question, pause, and if we jump in immediately, the story ends. Instead, wait, smile, give them time. Often they'll continue. Oh, That reminds me. Or, I've never told anyone this before. Those unexpected stories are often the treasures. Years ago, people filled notebooks. Today, our phones make it incredibly easy. Record audio, record video, take photographs while you're talking, scan old pictures together, ask them who everyone is before moving to the next one. One photograph can unlock 30 minutes of memories. I've watched people identify dozens of relatives simply because someone placed an old photo album on the table. Suddenly, stories came pouring out. Don't just ask questions. Bring things, old letters, military medals, wedding photographs, recipes, family Bibles, school report cards, even old tools. Objects trigger memories, sometimes memories that haven't surfaced in decades. Researchers call these memory prompts. Genealogists simply call them priceless. This surprises many people. Suppose Grandpa says, "We moved there in 1942, but you know from records it was actually 1944. Don't interrupt. Don't argue. Keep listening because the goal isn't proving dates. The goal is preserving memories. You can verify facts later. But once the conversation stops, you may never hear the rest of the story. Sometimes we focus only on the dramatic events, wars, immigration, marriage, deaths, but everyday life is often the most fascinating. Ask, what did breakfast look like? How much did things cost? Did you have indoor plumbing? What music played on the radio? How did people spend Saturday evenings? What chores did children have? Who disciplined the children? What happened when someone got sick? How were birthdays celebrated? Those answers paint a picture of everyday life that future generations will never experience firsthand. This is where today's technology becomes incredibly exciting. Artificial intelligence isn't replacing these conversations, it's helping preserve them. After recording an interview, AI tools can transcribe the entire conversation, organize stories by topic, identify names and places, summarize long interviews, help write biographies, suggest follow-up questions, translate interviews into other languages, and even help identify photographs mentioned during the conversation. The important thing is this: AI cannot create memories. Only your relatives can do that. AI simply helps preserve what they share. Near the end of every interview, I like asking a few deeper questions. What accomplishment are you most proud of? What do you hope your grandchildren remember about you? What advice would you give your younger self? What family tradition should never disappear? If you could tell future generations one thing, what would it be? Those answers often become the most meaningful part of the interview. As genealogists, we spend countless hours searching for records. We celebrate finding an elusive census, a forgotten obituary, a military pension, a land deed. Those discoveries matter. But after 40 years of research, I've learned something. The most valuable family record you will ever create is one that doesn't exist yet. It's the conversation you have this weekend. It's the story your aunt tells while looking through photographs. It's the laugh your father lets out, remembering childhood. It's your grandmother explaining how she met your grandfather. Those moments cannot be recreated, they cannot be downloaded, and they cannot be found in an archive 50 years from now. Only you can preserve them. If today's episode inspired you, I have a challenge for you. This week, choose one relative, just one. Call them, visit them, schedule lunch, bring your phone, ask a few questions, listen, record their answers. You don't have to conduct a perfect interview. You simply have to begin. Years from now, your children, your grandchildren, and generations you'll never meet may thank you for taking that first step. If you enjoyed today's episode of Time Capsule, Modern Genealogy, Legacy, and AI, I'd love it if you'd subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who has family stories worth preserving. You can also visit ancestryseeking.com, where you'll find articles, genealogy resources, educational courses, podcast episodes, and practical tools to help you preserve your family's history for generations to come. Until next time, remember, your ancestors gave you yesterday. What you preserve today becomes tomorrow's history. I'm Barbara Beauregard. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of Time Capsule, Modern Genealogy, Legacy, and AI.